On June 29, 1944, at 9:07 a.m., Staff Sergeant Lafayette Pool was hunched in the tight turret of his M4 Sherman near Villiers-Fossard, France. He watched German infantry moving in the hedgerows 300 yards away. He was 24, with no combat missions and no tank kills. His 3rd Armored Division had arrived on Omaha Beach just 6 days prior. Pool's battalion prepared to assault a fortified German position defended by the 353rd Infantry Division. Each tank commander in the regiment understood the numbers. Their Shermans had 75mm guns. German Panthers carried long-barrel 75mm cannons with double the penetrating power. German Tigers wielded 88mm guns, able to defeat a Sherman's frontal armor from 2,000 yards. A Sherman could not breach a Panther's front armor from any distance. Pool dubbed his tank "In the Mood" from the Glenn Miller tune. His crew believed he was insane. Corporal Wilbert Richards was the driver. Private First Class Bert Close handled the bow gun. Corporal Willis Aller was on the main gun. Technician 5th grade Del Boggs served as loader. They were 4 men trained together over 2 years at Fort Knox and California's Desert Training Center. Not one had engaged a real target that returned fire. At 0900, the order to attack arrived. Task Force X advanced left, Task Force Y advanced right. Pool's Sherman drove through an opening created by bulldozer tanks. German anti-tank weaponry fired at once. 3 Shermans were destroyed within the initial 5 minutes. Pool saw a German half-track 400 yards out. Aller took the shot. A hit. The vehicle erupted in flames. It was Pool's first kill. 3 additional half-tracks came next. Then 1 armored car. Following that, a supply truck. The hedgerows rendered visibility non-existent. German infantry launched Panzerfaust rockets from just 30 yards. Pool only saw them when the rocket was in midair. At 14:30, a Panzerfaust struck "In the Mood's" right track. The blast slammed Pool into the turret's side. A fire began in the engine bay. Richards reversed the tank 20 yards as smoke flooded the inside. Pool gave the order to evacuate. The entire 5-man crew escaped. The tank was consumed by fire. 31 additional Shermans from Combat Command A were lost within 2 days. That evening, Pool stood in a French field observing his first tank burn. The regiment had lost 31 tanks, plus 12 other vehicles, to secure 1 village from a single reinforced German battalion. The Sherman's protection was insufficient. The gun was underpowered. German tanks destroyed them from distances where American crews never even saw the shot. All tankers in the 3rd Armored Division understood this reality. Most conceded this was the cost of war. Pool would not. To see how Pool transformed a failing weapon into a lethal tool, please click the like button. It assists us in sharing more lost histories such as this. Subscribe now if you are new. Now, back to Pool. The following morning, he asked to see his battalion commander. The colonel anticipated a frightened sergeant requesting an infantry transfer. Instead, Pool requested another tank. Then he stated something that convinced the colonel he was mad. He desired to lead each assault. He demanded the point position on every single occasion. The colonel questioned his reasoning. Pool's reply was 3 words: "Get in close." Pool received his 2nd Sherman on July 1st. It was an M4A1, equipped with the new 76mm gun. It had improved penetration. Still, it was insufficient to breach a Panther's front plate past 500 yards. Pool christened it "In the Mood." Same name, new tank. The crew was the same. Richards handled the driving. Close was on the bow gun. Aller took the aim. Boggs loaded the gun. They had endured 1 destroyed tank as a team. Now they would find out if Pool's crazy strategy would save them or get them killed quicker. Doctrine dictated maintaining distance, firing from concealment, and using the landscape. Let tank destroyers engage enemy armor. Pool disregarded all of it. His strategy was straightforward. Advance directly toward German lines. Close to 300 yards. Shoot first. The crew believed he was unhinged. Richards questioned if Pool wanted to die. Pool's response was pure, cold math. A Sherman dies at 2,000 yards from a Panther. A Panther dies at 300 yards from a Sherman. Close the distance. Survive. According to the manual, it was suicide. Yet the manual was getting American tankers killed from afar, regardless. Combat Command A advanced east out of Normandy, heading for Mortain in early August. Pool's platoon was at the front. Always. He demanded it. He saw 2 German Mark IV tanks 800 yards away on August the 2nd near Juvigny. Standard procedure was to stop and fire from concealment. Pool commanded Richards to advance at top speed, 25 miles per hour, directly at the Panzers. The German crew watched a lone Sherman charge. They paused. 3 seconds of bafflement. Why would an American tank leader execute such a tactically foolish move? Pool reached 400 yards. Aller shot. The first Mark IV blew up. The second Panzer's turret turned to face Pool. Aller loaded armor-piercing, fired once more. A penetration. 2 kills inside 40 seconds. Pool's bold strategy was effective because it defied German assumptions. Panzer commanders were taught to fight Shermans at long distance, where German cannons excelled. They anticipated American tanks would halt and exchange fire from 1,000 yards. When a Sherman instead rushed them, German crews presumed it was either disabled or its commander was frantic. That pause cost them 3 seconds. At point-blank range against a Sherman 76mm gun, 3 seconds was fatal. The 3rd Armored Division sped east across France in mid-August, attempting to seal the Falaise pocket. Pool headed every single advance. He eliminated 4 additional Panzers near Fromentel on August 13th. 2 were Panthers. 2 were Mark IVs. His strategy remained constant. Identify the foe, charge straight at them, shoot at close quarters. His crew ceased doubting the madness. They had witnessed it succeed 15 times. Aller developed into the regiment's quickest gunner. Boggs was able to load a 76mm shell in 4 seconds flat. Close's bow machine gun mowed down German infantry before they could launch Panzerfausts. Richards mastered accelerating directly into enemy fire, not retreating from it. Pool's name circulated throughout the 3rd Armored Division. Infantry groups asked for him by name for their attacks. His battalion commander ceased efforts to hold him in reserve. By September 1st, Pool had eliminated 8 confirmed Panzers plus over 100 other vehicles during 63 days of non-stop combat. Then, on August 17th near Fromentel, an American P-38 Lightning showed up above them amidst a firefight. The P-38 pilot spotted a German tank column proceeding through Fromentel, only they were not German. Pool's platoon was mopping up the final enemy elements in the village, the Lightning Dove. Pool watched the aircraft align for a strafing attack. He snatched the radio handset to contact friendly air support. It was too late. The P-38's 50-caliber machine guns began firing. Bullets tore through In the Mood's engine cover. Then the pilot launched rockets. One struck the turret. Another struck the hull. The second, In the Mood, was aflame. Pool and his crew evacuated for the 2nd time in 7 weeks. There were no injuries. Richards was enraged. Close was trembling. Aller simply watched the burning Sherman. Boggs wondered how many times they must endure this. Pool replied, "As many as it takes." The battalion issued him his 3rd tank the following day. It was another M4A1 with a 76mm gun. He named it In the Mood. Tank number 3. Combat Command. A advanced east once the Falaise pocket was sealed. Paris was freed on August 25th. The 3rd Armored Division forded the Seine River on August 26th, driving northeast toward Belgium. Pool was in the lead, always in the lead. His strategy had become battalion doctrine. Get in close, fire first, win. From August 29th to the 31st, Pool's platoon led the charge through an area held by the remains of the German 2nd Panzer Division. His tank advanced solo, ahead of the main task force. Richards asked if they should hold for support. Pool said no. They met 4 German Panzers near a crossroads at sunrise on August 29th. Pool charged, 800 yards. Aller fired. The 1st Panzer detonated. German return shots were off target. Pool closed to 200 yards, 2nd Panzer eliminated, 3rd, 4th. All were aflame inside of 6 minutes. During the following 3 days, Pool eliminated 3 anti-tank guns, about 50 armored vehicles, and a vast quantity of enemy infantry. He took 27 German soldiers prisoner who gave up after seeing their armor support destroyed. His deeds earned him the Distinguished Service Cross. The citation noted his unwavering bravery and motivational leadership allowed his task force's swift advance with few casualties. What it failed to mention was that Pool broke every tactical rule in the book and lived because German tank leaders could not fathom someone being so aggressive. By early September, Pool had eliminated 12 confirmed Panzers, Panthers, Mark IVs, 1 Tiger that erred by showing its weaker side armor. His complete vehicle tally hit 258. Half-tracks, armored cars, self-propelled guns, supply trucks, anything German that had wheels or tracks, over 1,000 enemy dead, 250 prisoners captured, 81 days of uninterrupted combat. The 3rd Armored Division neared the German border in mid-September. They had survived 3 wrecked tanks. They had defeated every German panzer they had faced. They had just 4 more days of fighting before their rotation home. On September 19th, Pool's battalion assaulted the Siegfried Line at Münsterbusch, southeast of Aachen. Pool was not leading this assault. Orders came from high command. His platoon was to give flank protection as another unit led the attack. Pool detected a German anti-tank gun concealed in a house 300 yards away. Pool ordered Euler to load high explosive, destroy the gun before it could shoot. Euler was not present. Corporal Euler was temporarily sent back to the United States for a medical checkup prior to the crew's planned rotation. The loader was Private First Class Paul Kenneth King, a new replacement. On his first combat mission, King took a 76mm round and forced it into the breech. Too hard. Too quick. The round got stuck. Pool struggled frantically to free it. The German gun shot first. The shell struck in the Mood's turret. The hit tossed Pool against the commander's hatch, but it did not penetrate. Richards instantly put the transmission in reverse. Move back. Get to safety. The Sherman moved backward 20 feet. The German crew was reloading. Pool was still fighting to clear the stuck gun. He shouted at Richards to reverse faster. The second shell hit. This one struck the Tank S right side just as it tilted back over a ditch's edge. The 75mm armor-piercing shell punched clean through. The blast overturned the 30-ton Sherman entirely. The impact ejected Pool from the commander's hatch to the ground 12 feet down. He hit the ground on his right leg. The leg collapsed, shattered. Pool sensed the bone break in 4 places. He glanced down. His right leg was bent at an unnatural angle. Blood saturated his trousers. A shell fragment had cut through his calf and thigh. Inside the flipped tank, King was deceased, killed at once by the penetrating shell. Richards got out through the driver's hatch. Close squeezed from the bow gunner's spot. Boggs appeared from the loader's hatch, covered in blood. It wasn't his. It was King's blood. Pool grabbed the morphine syrette from his first aid kit, sticking it into his thigh. The pain was excruciating. He could glimpse white bone via the ripped flesh. The leg was just barely connected. He took out his pocket knife, attempting to sever the remaining tissue. It was better to lose the leg now than die from blood loss awaiting medics. Lieutenant Colonel Walter Richardson rushed over and halted him, administering a second morphine shot. Medics got there 30 seconds after. A third injection. They wound the leg in bandages covered in sulfur powder. The bleeding reduced, but didn't cease. Pool swore at the Germans while medics placed him on a stretcher. He turned abruptly, grabbing Richardson's arm. His speech was slurred from the morphine. "Somebody take care of my tank." Richardson assured him he would. Pool lost consciousness. The war had ended for Lafayette Pool. 81 days of fighting, 12 confirmed Panzer kills, 258 vehicles destroyed in total, over 1,000 enemy killed, 250 captured, 3 tanks destroyed beneath him. He had survived 2. The third cost him his right leg. Army doctors removed it 8 inches above the knee at a field hospital in Belgium. Pool was in rehabilitation for the next 22 months, initially at William Beaumont General Hospital in El Paso, Texas. Later at Lawson General Hospital in Georgia, where he was fitted with an artificial leg. His discharge was in June 1946. Most soldiers would have returned home, started a business, lived a quiet life. Pool did not. He wanted to return. Pool started a filling station in Sinton, Texas in 1947, and then a garage. He married Evelyn. They raised 8 children, 4 sons, 4 daughters. He used a wooden prosthetic leg. The leg hurt him constantly. He never complained. But managing a gas station was insufficient. He missed the Army. He missed tanks. In 1948, Pool re-enlisted. The Army placed him in the Transportation Corps. Desk work, supply chains. Not at all like leading a Sherman in battle. Pool despised it. He requested a transfer to the 3rd Armored Division, the division he had made renowned. Request denied. He failed to meet the physical requirements. Missing leg. A medical discharge was advised. Pool would not give up. He wrote straight to General Roderick Allen, who led the 2nd Armored Division during the war. Allen recalled Pool's reputation, the mad tank commander who charged Panthers. Allen made phone calls. He pulled some strings. In 1948, Pool at last returned to the 3rd Armored Division, not as a tank leader, as an instructor of automotive mechanics at Fort Knox, Kentucky, showing young tankers how to maintain Shermans. It was not combat, but it involved tanks. Pool became a legend at Fort Knox. Instructors would indicate him to trainees. That's Staff Sergeant Pool, America's greatest tank ace, 12 Panzers, 258 vehicles, 81 days. The man who showed American tanks could defeat German armor if you got in close enough. Some trainees doubted the stories. Pool would reveal his prosthetic leg. Then he would tell them of Villiers-Fossard, of charging Panthers at Columbia, of 3 burning Shermans. The trainees believed him after that. He retired from the United States Army on September 19, 1960, precisely 16 years after losing his leg at Munsterbusch. He departed with the rank of Chief Warrant Officer II, 29 years of service. He had given the Army his all. The Army gave him a pension and a metal box of decorations. Distinguished Service Cross, Legion of Merit, Silver Star with Oak Leaf Cluster, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Belgian Fourragère, French Legion of Honor. After retiring, Pool went to business college. He served as a preacher for $25 a week at a small church. He coached Little League Baseball in Killeen, Texas. The kids loved him. He never spoke of the war unless someone questioned him directly. When they asked, he always replied the same way. There were no heroes, no Rambos. We were a team. Every medal I got wasn't just me. It was my team. Pool was nominated twice for the Medal of Honor. The first time, the documents were lost somewhere between France and Washington. The second time, the recommendation was rejected. The reasoning stated it was a crew effort, not a singular heroic act. Pool concurred with that judgment. He always gave credit to Richards for driving directly into enemy fire, Oehler for being the regiment's fastest gunner, Boggs for 4-second reloads, Close for defending the tank from infantry. Without them, Pool said, I'm just another dead tanker in a French field. In 1988, Pool went to Fort Hood, Texas. A reporter asked for his guidance for modern soldiers. Pool's response was simple. Learn to survive, shoot to kill, always go forward. Never retreat. Lafayette Green Pool died in his sleep on May 30th, 1991, in Killeen, Texas. He was 71. He was survived by his wife, Evelyn, 8 children, and dozens of grandchildren. He was interred at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio, Texas, with full military honors. His gravestone notes his rank as Chief Warrant Officer II. It does not mention 12 Panzers. It does not mention 258 vehicles. It does not mention he was America's most lethal tank commander. 2 years after Pool died, the Army dedicated a new tank driver training simulator building at Fort Knox in his honor, the Lafayette Pool Tank Crew Training Facility. Lieutenant Colonel Olin Brewster, who served with Pool in the 3rd Armored Division and was his friend for 47 years, delivered the dedication speech. Brewster stated Pool taught a whole generation of tankers that bold action overcomes superior firepower, that bravery and speed were more important than armor thickness, that American crews could triumph if they fought intelligently and fought mean. Pool's strategy affected American armor doctrine for decades. The concept of aggressive maneuvering at close quarters became standard instruction at Fort Knox. Get inside the enemy's kill zone. Make them fight at ranges where your gun is effective. Modern tank commanders analyze Pool's engagements at Columbia and the August 29th fight, where he eliminated 4 Panzers in 6 minutes. The strategy works against T-72s and T-90s just as it worked against Panthers. In 2014, Columbia Pictures issued Fury, a movie about an American Sherman crew battling through Germany in April 1945. Brad Pitt portrayed Staff Sergeant Don Collier, known as War Daddy, a hard-charging tank leader who led from the front and closed with German firing ranges. The film never identified Lafayette Pool by name, but everyone who knew the true story knew the character. War Daddy was Pool's real nickname given by his crew. The aggressive strategy was Pool's strategy. The command method was Pool's method. Even the line about the quickest way home being smashing through the German army was something Pool truly said. The movie took creative liberties. The last fight, where one Sherman fends off an SS battalion, did not happen. But the central truth was intact. American tank crews could defeat superior German armor with aggressive tactics and better crew coordination. Pool demonstrated that 81 times in 1944. Historians argue if Pool was really America's top tank ace. Canadian tanker Sidney Radley Walters claimed more kills on the Western Front. Soviet tankers like Dmitry Lavranenko had higher confirmed numbers on the Eastern Front. German aces like Michael Wichmann far exceeded Pool's total. But those arguments missed the point. Pool achieved his record in 81 days. Under 3 months, with a tank that was technically inferior to all it faced. That is what made him exceptional. The M4 Sherman has a bad reputation. Historians label it a death trap. Veterans named it a Ronson lighter. Burns every time. German tankers called them Tommy Cookers. But the Sherman itself was not the problem. Doctrine was the issue. American tank strategy in Normandy kept Shermans at long distance, where German guns excelled. Pool showed that Shermans could win by closing the gap and fighting at point-blank range, where the 76mm gun was effective. His 3 lost tanks tell that story: Villiers-Fossard, Fromentel, Munsterbusch. 3 times burned, 3 times evacuated, twice survived with no casualties. The 3rd time, his gunner was killed and it cost him his leg. But Pool always claimed he was fortunate. Fortunate to survive 3 hits. Fortunate his crew survived twice. Fortunate the medics got to him in time at Munsterbusch. His crew dispersed after the war. Corporal Wilbert Richards, the driver Pool nicknamed Baby, went back to civilian life. He gave interviews in the 1980s about Pool's strategy. Richards said he believed Pool was crazy the first time he commanded full speed toward a Panther. But after enduring 20 engagements, Richards understood. Pool wasn't careless. He calculated every single charge. He knew just how close they had to get. He knew the exact moment a Sherman's gun turned lethal and a Panther's edge vanished. That knowledge is what kept them alive. Private First Class Bert Close, the 17-year-old bow gunner nicknamed Schoolboy, spoke to historians in the 1990s. Close stated Pool never wasted time on long briefings or pep talks. The orders were always straightforward. Enemy at 800 yards, full speed, fire at 300. That clarity aided them in combat. No confusion, no hesitation. Everyone knew their role. Do it fast. Do it right. Live. Corporal Willis Aller, the gunner called Groundhog, came back from his medical evaluation in the U.S. 3 weeks after Munsterbusch. He found out about King's death and Pool's wound. Aller blamed himself. He was convinced if he had been in the tank that day, the gun would not have jammed. He would have shot before the German crew. Pool wrote to Aller from the hospital in 1945, telling him to stop. The jam was not about skill. It was about a green loader under fire for the first time. King did his best. He died doing his duty. That is all any soldier can do. Technician 5th grade Del Boggs, the loader nicknamed Jailbird, never spoke in public about the war. His family said he held on to Pool's letters until his death. In one letter from 1970, Pool wrote of their 81 days together. Pool said he drove them harder than any crew in the division, insisted on perfection, and accepted no less. But they delivered. 4-second reloads, first-round hits at full speed, zero panic under fire. Pool wrote that he had served with hundreds of soldiers, none better than his crew in the Mood. The name In the Mood was on 3 separate Shermans. Tank 1 was lost at Villiers-Fossard on June 29th. Tank 2 was lost at Fromentel on August 17th. Tank 3 was lost at Munsterbusch on September 19th. Pool never altered the name. He said it reminded him of why they fought. They were in the mood for anything. In the mood to win. In the mood to survive. In the mood to show American tankers could defeat German armor. The 3rd Armored Division battled from Normandy to the Siegfried Line to the Elbe River. The division eliminated over 1,000 German tanks and 5,000 other vehicles. Pool's 12 confirmed Panzer kills were 1% of that total. His 258 vehicle kills were 5%. 1 crew, 1 tank commander, 81 days. Modern tank crews still analyze his tactics at Fort Benning and Fort Moore. They study his August 29th engagement, where he eliminated 4 Panzers in 6 minutes. The lessons stay relevant. Aggressive maneuver beats superior firepower. Speed causes confusion. Closing the distance nullifies the enemy's edge. Pool grasped these principles in 1944, lacking modern doctrine manuals or computer simulations. He determined this by seeing 31 Shermans burn at Villiers-Fossard and concluding there must be a better way. The Patton Museum at Fort Knox showed Pool's uniform and medals until the museum shut in 2016. The collection relocated to Fort Moore, Georgia, where the National Armor and Cavalry Museum now maintains Pool's legacy. Visitors can view his Distinguished Service Cross citation, his Silver Star, his Purple Heart, and the prosthetic leg he used for 45 years. Photographs of In the Mood moving through French villages with Pool upright in the commander's hatch. He rarely buttoned up. He was claustrophobic. He preferred sitting atop the tank or standing exposed in the hatch, despite the risk. Better visibility meant quicker target acquisition, faster kills, and a higher survival rate. The math was sound. The museum also shows technical diagrams of the M4A1 Sherman. Visitors can see precisely what Pool commanded. 30 tons, 12 feet tall, 20 feet long, a crew of 5, top speed 25 miles per hour. Armor thickness varied from 25 millimeters to 76 millimeters. The 76 millimeter gun could breach 100 millimeters of armor at 500 yards. A Panther's frontal armor was 80 millimeters, sloped at 30 degrees. The math indicated Shermans lose. Pool proved the math incorrect by altering the range. Archives at the 3rd Armored Division History Foundation hold Pool's combat reports. Researchers can review his precise engagements day by day from June 29th to September 19th. Every kill is documented, every action confirmed. 12 confirmed Panzers, 258 total vehicles. The documentation is important because it validates Pool's record was real, not inflated, not propaganda. Just one tank commander who grasped that aggressive action defeats defensive hesitation. If this story affected you as it affected us, do me a favor. Click that like button. Each and every like signals YouTube to show this story to more people. Hit subscribe and activate notifications. We are recovering forgotten stories from dusty archives every single day. Stories about tankers and mechanics and soldiers who saved lives through courage and tactics and by refusing to believe their equipment was substandard. Real people. Real heroism. Leave a comment right now and let us know where you're viewing from. Are you watching from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, France? Our community spans the entire globe. You are not just a viewer. You are part of preserving these memories. Tell us your location. Tell us if someone in your family served. Tell us if you knew of Lafayette Pool before. Just let us know you are here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for ensuring Lafayette Pool.